is a world.
This is a world premiere.
This is a world premiere.
I done been through a whole lot, trial, tribulation, but I know God.
Hey, Reg here, and welcome back to the blog. It's day 34 of my 60-day raw food challenge, and things are still going pretty smoothly. Yesterday was a pretty great day. I spent the day on the farm. There's a farm, an urban farm, I've talked to you guys about it, run by an organization called Added Value, and it's a 2-acre farm that runs a market every Saturday, so I got to hang out surrounded by fresh produce that was just, right there growing out of the ground, and, got to take some of it home, so that was really awesome. I spent the morning working with a group of young people, and then in the afternoon I was working with a group who are planning an annual festival on the farm, and then the evening, I spent the evening on a boat. A friend of mine was having her 60th birthday celebration, so it was a pretty awesome Saturday, to say the least. I went back and checked out my day 34 blog entry from my 2012 60-day raw food challenge, and I was still in Milwaukee, and I was having some difficulty getting access to some fresh food, even though I was at an urban and small farm conference. So that was pretty ironic. Another great thing that happened yesterday, I told you guys I've been checking out other, vegan bloggers, and I came across The Honest Vegan, who is, I just think, an awesome personality, and you guys should definitely check her out. She's a young woman of color, and I think that people of color in general tend to be left out of the conversation about health, and so it's just a great, a breath of fresh air to have someone like her out there blogging. And, that's her being a young person of color isn't what makes her awesome. She's just an awesome personality, but it's just nice to know that, this minority group is being represented in this community as well by a blogger who then is a really awesome blogger, really one of the best in terms of coming across in a gentle, loving way, bringing the science to the work, so that's really great. In one of her blog entries, she's doing a Q&A, and one of the questions is coming from, I believe, an African American woman who is really making the claim that having an eating disorder, and The Honest Vegan, comes clean about having an eating disorder, is, the product of being growing up in a suburban, predominantly white environment. And she responded to that question, I think, very graciously, and you can check out the blog and kind of see her response. But I just want to chime in and say, that's crap, and I'd love to see the research. If it's not crap, show me the research. And it just seems to me to be the kind of attitude that has kept people of color unhealthy because there's the stigma that it's not supposed to be happening to you because you're black. You're not supposed to have an eating disorder. It's your culture to eat foods that are unhealthy, so you better eat those chitlins, you better eat those pig, whatever. Maybe I'm coming off sounding like a racist, but when you make statements like, black people don't have eating disorders, you're kind of leading us down the road to that kind of a discussion, unless you bring to it research. So I did check it out. I went to the website of the National Eating Disorders Association and the National Association of Anorexia Nervosa and Associated Disorders to try to see, what did they have on African Americans or people of color in general, and of men. Because as a person who has had an eating disorder, I've found myself, with no real role models to look to for advice, or people that I could talk to who I felt were going through the same experience or a similar experience to me. What I was able to discover is that yes, people of color are susceptible to eating disorders, and that 1 in 10 people with an eating disorder is a man, so that's 10% of the 10% of people with eating disorders are men. But unfortunately, historically, they have not been included in the studies. So there are not a lot of numbers and there's not a lot of data about the reasons why and the impact that it's having on those communities. And that's really unfortunate. What I was able to discover about men is that men tend to develop eating disorders for reasons that are different than women. Men tend to develop eating disorders because they are trying to perform better as athletes, because they've been teased about their weight, or because they want to project a more masculine image. Those, however, aren't necessarily, my experience, because I'm coming at it from, a very different place. So it was great to, hear that question, have her address that question, and now to be able to pick up that discussion as well. I don't have really a music update for you today, but I will post a link to something. That said, thank you for checking in on day 34 of my 60-day raw food challenge. I hope you have a great one, and peace.
Guns and dick is out.